I love when great companies come out with new card making tools, so I was super excited to see that Spellbinders has several new tools available for card making. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I'll be unboxing the new Guillotine Trimmer and two different punches that each punch 3 different sizes. In addition to unboxing these new tools, I'll also be sharing a few new collections from Spellbinders. So if you're interested in anything you see me using today, be sure to look for my supply list, which is in the YouTube description box. So let's start by checking out the brand new Spellbinders trimmer. The new Spellbinders tools come in this really beautiful white and gray color combination that looks so nice on my desk. This is the Guillotine paper trimmer, and you can see some of the aspects of the trimmer, such as rubberized feet. There's a finger guard. It's a compact size, which fits nicely in a small area, and you can lock that bar. So let me show you just how nicely this trimmer looks on my desk. And here is the little lock. It's just a little peg that locks into place in this hole. It's really easy to remove and then to put back into place. So that will protect little fingers if you have any around your crafting space, and also your finger. So I am using the new Bayfair paper pad from Spellbinders. It's a 6x6 paper pad. And I'll just cut a few slices for you so you can see how beautifully it cuts. The cutter is super sharp, so you definitely want to keep your finger away from the blade, but it just cuts like butter, which is so nice when you're trying to get a nice straight line. You can hold the paper down with that finger guard and it will hold it in place so that the blade goes through and cuts really nicely. Now, they do recommend not cutting more than 1 sheet at a time. This is really thin pattern paper, so I think you could probably get away with it. This is the 3-in-1 banner punch. So you can see there are guide marks on the front of the punch that will show you the different sizes that you can punch out. So you trim a piece of paper down to those sizes and then slide it right into the guide marks. And then once it hits the back of the punch, you just press down. What I really like is that this is one punch that then gives you 3 different sizes, and then you can trim them down so that they are different lengths as well. So just depending on what type of paper you use will depend on how long you can make your banners. There's also another punch, and so I'm cutting different strips for that punch as well using the trimmer. This is the 3-in-1 tag punch. It works exactly the same way. So it'll say 2.5, 1.5, that kind of thing, and that's how you'll know what to cut your paper down to. This one, you do the same exact way. You line it up with the guide marks, press it all the way into the back of the punch, and then press down on the handle, and it will cut the shape at the top as well as a hole for that tag. So it's a real tag, which is super nice. And then again, just trim it down to the length of the tag that you want, depending on the size. So once I have all of my tags and banners punched out, I'll bring the trimmer back in and trim these down to the sizes that I like. They can be literally any size you want. They can be super long, they can be super short, and you can have a variety of sizes, which is so nice. Again, this is the Bayfair 6x6 designer paper pad. It's a new collection available from Spellbinders, and there are other items in the collection that you can buy a la carte, such as stickers and chipboards and other things like that. This is the Nestage postage labels and tags dies. It's in that same collection, so I thought I would use it to cut out some pattern paper. I love how you get in the Nestage postage tags dies, you get postage outlines and then you get stitched outlines. They all layer together really beautifully, and I thought they went really well with that banner punch. So I'm creating a vertical card. I cut this pattern paper down to 4 by 5.5, so there's little borders on both sides, and then I'll layer that postage pattern paper on top and then the banner on top of that. So you can have a lot of fun with these dies and the pattern paper and the punches all together. I'm layering a piece of cardstock on top of the banners so that I have a place to put my Bayfair chipboard embellishments, and you'll really be able to see them. They'll stand out on that dark blue cardstock. But I love the combination of pattern papers and chipboard and then all of the elements from the dies. For this card, I'll start with a stitched rectangle from that nested postage dies, and then I'll cut out the largest postage die, and I'll just show you how this looks together. Absolutely adorable. It looks like a large postage stamp. Now that largest size will fit perfectly on an A2 piece of cardstock. So you can just put this right onto your card base, but I'm not using a card base. So I just wanted to show you how it looks on a white A2 panel. I was looking for another pattern and I found that the back of the chipboard, the packaging, actually has this really cute pink and white gingham, which goes beautifully with the collection, obviously. So I cut that out of that small tag die from the Postage and Tags die set. I'll use my large tag from the 3-in-1 tag punch to layer on top of each other. So I have that little tag on top of the larger tag, and then I can place some chipboard again on top of that. Lots of fun with layering with this collection. I did decide to add some gold thread to both of the tags. When I use tags like this, I like to fold the thread in half so that I have a loop that I'm placing through the tag hole. And then once I have that in place, I will tie a knot between that and the bottom, and you'll end up with a tag loop and then 2 threads hanging down. It's just a really easy way to create an interesting looking tie with the loop on the top and then those 2 threads hanging down. Just cut those exactly as long as you want them, and that just creates a little bit of extra interest. So I'll do the same exact thing with that large tag at the top. Just fold the metallic thread in half and then put that through the hole, the loop through the hole, and then tie it into a knot so that I again have that tag loop on one side and the 2 threads hanging down on the other. For this next card, I will be cutting down some gold mirror cardstock. Again, trimmer works perfectly with thicker cardstock as well. And then the punches work well with that gold mirror cardstock too. So I'm creating a gold tag and I'll just trim that down in the trimmer to make it the length that I want. For this card, I'm using some of the new Spotlight collection, which features these layered anemone dies. So I'll start with the stems of the flowers and I'll place those on top of the gold mirror tag with a little bit of liquid adhesive. Then they are layerable flowers. There's 2 flowers in this set and each has 2 layers so that you can have petals layered on top of each other. There's also layers for the flower centers. It's a large center and then a smaller piece of that to make a 2-toned center as well. So you could use foam squares in between these to really pop them up. I'm just using a thin foam square from Spellbinders on the back of the flowers to give it a little bit of lift off of that gold mirror tag. The die set also comes with leaves. There's one for the larger flower and one for the smaller flower as well. I'll trim off the stem that's hanging over the back. This is the woven lattice texture die, and that comes in the Spotlight collection as well, available in that collection. So I'll pop up my tag and kind of angle that on that lattice background. I love that lattice background. Here's a little Hello Sentiments clear stamp and dies. There are stamps and dies. The Hello layers on top of 2 different shadows, but I'm only using one on this card. And then once I have those layered, pop that up on top of the tag that I cut out with the punch. This is the Stitched Edge circle backgrounds. It's also in the Spotlight collection. You can see you get a circle and then you get 2 different patterns as well as a larger stitched, double stitched circle that goes around that. So lots of layering again that you can do here. I am cutting out 1 circle and then creating that sort of chevron look by placing the die on top of the die cut circle, holding it in place with some Spellbinders tape. Once it's cut out, I'll use a little liquid adhesive and place it on top of the double stitched circle that I cut out of white cardstock. I love how these circles layer together. Circles are just such a nice background for cards. You could use the anemone on top of this, but I decided to go with a real clean and simple look. So I cut down some mint cardstock and I'm placing it onto an A2 piece of white cardstock that I had die cut that hello out of. And now I'll just place the circles on top of that. and I'll use one of the chipboard stickers from the Bayfair collection. It says Smile, but I did want to show you the stamps as well from that Hello Sentiments Stamps and Dies. The stamp sentiments come all in one set. It's one stamp and then one die. I love these type of sentiments. They make it so easy to have them perfectly lined up and to cut them all out, obviously in one pass through your die cut machine. So I'm using Sending You a Happy as the sub sentiment, and then Smile for the sentiment from that chipboard collection. For the other pattern that you can create with these dies, I did decide to cut that out of a pink cardstock, and now I'm going back to the Postage dies again because they are so great. So I thought I would have a stitched rectangle in yellow. That Postage edge die I cut out of the pink and white striped pattern paper from the pad that I showed you before, and I'm layering everything on top of each other. Again, all of these dies and the pattern paper work really well as layering aspects. So here I've cut out the hello from that stamp and die set. I'm not using a shadow, and I'm just placing that right in the center. And then one of the sub sentiments that says, how are you? Again, so easy to pull these together and layer all things on top of each other. This is the Spotlight Circle Duo press plate. It's also in that Spotlight collection. You could use these press plates as a beautiful background for those anemones. Once again, I'm using both press plates on one card, and I'm creating a rainbow from top to bottom and using a bunch of the Spellbinders Better Press inks to do that. So I'll flip my plate over and run it through my die cut machine and check that out. I love these press plates. I think they are going to be so nice to use in a variety of different cards as backgrounds. Bring the trimmer out one more time to trim this panel down to an 4 by 5 1/4 piece so that I can mat it on some black cardstock, because I thought that the colors would really pop on a black cardstock background, and I think that they do. Then I'll just die cut out a hello. Again, I'm not using a shadow, and adhere that right in between the two circles on the card. Last but not least, I'll add a little, which is a popped up sub sentiment on some foam squares. So much fun to play with this collection and these new tools. I love tools, so I was super excited to see a company that I love and trust come out with some new tools. I'd love to hear if anything caught your eye today. Let me know in the comments below. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Gain tools. These. Add to. If you can hear that. We'll see.